Empowering devs with decentralized compute. I think decentralized compute feels like one of the lowest hanging fruit for the DePIN space right now. Because as we know, decentralized training and inferencing seems plausible, but it is very far off in understanding how eventually it could become a tangible product or a use case in decentralization. Once I speak of decentralization, as there are so many products out there, there are numbers which are forecasted again and again, showcasing the number of GPUs connected on them, showcasing number of data centers which are connected on top of them. My name is Prakarsh Pathak. I am fairly young in this segment of DePIN, but we have been into this infra space before it was called DePIN. I've been closely working with scaling Spheron for past 2 years now. And the focus was to make something which is not short or for a hype-lived event, short-lived hype event. And we are here for real change. We were doing DePIN before it was called DePIN and understanding what tech truly means and to truly decentralize cloud. As we preach that we have been decentralizing cloud for past 4 years now, how does that truly happen? Do you get do you get an actual link where you can go ahead and you can utilize Spheron? So I would show you something which you can use it right away off the bat without any precautions, without any cautions around compute, is the Fizz node. Fizz node has truly been a complete success in past 1 month. We have scaled to more than, right now, I think this is 7th November's metrics, but we have scaled more than 3,000 GPUs connected on Spheron and live right now for actual workload and compute, which can be utilized for anything from fine-tuning to clustering to inferencing, any sort of compute requirement as such. So retails compute connected on top of a network, acting as a data center grade GPUs. Now you must be thinking, how does that work? How does a GPU gets connected on top of a network and can be utilized throughout? And what about the latency? What happens to the latency? So for example, how many of you have a Mac system at home? Can I see a raise of hands? Oh, many. Yeah. How do you connect your Mac system? And let's take an example. How would I start utilizing that Mac for a simple inferencing task? This is a small question for all of you because the audience seems awfully quiet. There are two images you can see on the screen right now. Is one where a dev is based in Bangkok and the consumer is based in Bangkok. And the GPU supplier is also based in Bangkok. The other image shows that there is a dev which is based in Bangkok. There is a consumer which is based in US. And the supplier is also based in Bangkok. So which model would have the higher latency? Is it going to be 1 or 2? MCQ time. Come on, guys. Be a sport. See, Clemens is a sport. He already answered it. Guys, people for 1, can you raise your hand? Higher latency. Okay. You guys need some inferencing education. People for 2. Can you raise your hand? Yes. Yes, it's going to be 2. This is how latency works. And this would definitely have higher latency. Decentralized compute actually faces a lot of issues through latency. And it is one of the biggest problems of actually decentralizing compute. No matter how cheap you can go in terms of leasing out machine, you have to understand the product or the protocol or anything which is around should be scalable, robust, and on par with companies like AWS, GCP, or Azure. Decentralized network comes as decentralized access. As there is a saying that goes that data is the new oil, and data is something which is very much entitled upon one of the most powerful entity any company can have to make decisions around you. As now, compute has become a currency around the data. As of this oil is required to run this engine, compute acts as the engine which is required to run this whole segment of different applications which you are experiencing right now. So you must be wondering, this guy has told us so much about how a user is going and utilizing decentralized compute, but how does that happen on a day-to-day basis on Spheron? The Spheron matchmaking engine is state-of-the-class matchmaking engines which utilizes connected data centers all around the world and different fizz nodes which are connected on their local systems or providers, which give the access to users to go ahead and utilize Spheron right off the bat. We have services like APIs and SDKs which can be implemented easily and so composable that you can integrate compute right off the bat. Spheron utilizes clustering of different nodes and machines together where it can easily resolve the issue of different payloads on top of multiple machines. So Spheron acts as an actual compute for anything which you build around AI. As my previous speakers have mentioned, that there is a lot of tangibility in terms of understanding what DePIN truly means. Decentralized physical infrastructure. Is it a market narrative? Is it a wave? Or is it actual tech? As we all know that we have been working closely with all of these data centers and providers, Spheron utilizes its time to working closely with the providers and actual users to define the bridge between them. And this is how an actual compute bid looks like at Spheron. How does a dev places a bid on top of Spheron and a compute order gets executed on that bit, selecting the closest or the most highest tiered GPU on top of the data centers. And once the orders are matched, both the fizzers and users get connected with each other's, and the machine is accessible for leasing. This is how straightforward and simple and robust the architecture of Spheron is. To make decentralized compute more accessible, to make decentralized compute more to make decentralized compute more scalable with Spheron. There are, as a developer product, there are few things which we have intentionally designed for anybody in this anybody to utilize. Is the matchmaking engine, is the desired system picking, the SDKs and APIs around Spheron, which can be used right off the bat for any application. Spheron is meticulously built on top of Arbitrum because of few cases and the decentralization it provides and the leasing and the compute verification. All of those things happens on chain and verifying the type of compute which is getting connected on top of Spheron. The payment structure of Spheron is fairly as flexible as buying groceries from your store as you're buying compute. And we want compute to be as accessible as a day-to-day commodity for everybody, because compute is going to act as one of the most important commodity in coming time. And the UI of Spheron is completely focused on the developer experience of how do you really integrate to different AI applications you have been building around. The whole idea to build Spheron was to build something robust, easy, accessible, and yet scalable in terms of a Web3 tech which stands still with the other robust options. Now, you must be seeing that all of this is written in caps. So this must be important, right? So benefits of using Spheron. How would you use Spheron and how it would help you to reduce 90% of your cost? As a developer who's based in San Francisco, or as a founder who's based in India or Japan or anywhere, my raised capital, the 30% of that capital goes into buying actual compute to the actual production life cycle. So for me to truly understand decentralized compute in terms of pricing, in terms of understanding why decentralized compute can give you much cheaper bare access to the compute which is required for prolonged period of time, Spheron comes as one of the products which is easily accessible and easily scalable. It allows you to create federated learning and data training and inferencing models on top of it. And you have the access right off the bat to data center grade servers, and you can use the cheapest server to the most highest tier server as per your own need and requirements. And we have successfully came to reduce latency to a substantial amount, and to be as comparable as Web 2 alternatives in this segment. And as we have seen that there are so many DePIN companies doing amazing work around compute, around mapping, around a lot of things, which is so interesting to see. But compute is one of the biggest currency and is one of the most sophisticated currencies once we understand how AI truly works. That and what I would be, we are really amazed of what people have really achieved by utilizing Spheron and how devs have created something which they are scaling right now. And something that is not on my slide right now, but I would love you guys to see, is I think we are aware of services like which are called node as a service. Spheron successfully created world's first DePIN node as a service, which is called Supernoders, and which has eventually led to more than 15,000 users utilizing DePIN to run actual nodes. And then now the next step is to create GPU nodes as a service, which can be easily built on top of Spheron and can be used as I speak of today. The use cases. This is something which interests me a lot, because I think today itself I was having a conversation at my booth that how we can build personal AI or how we can create personal AI in terms of just utilizing Spheron's compute, and which can scale to the prioritized learning in hospitals as the data is proprietary and it cannot be shared around. It cannot be inferenced and shared as the data stays in one place. Spheron can act as a response and prompt mechanism between two hospitals, and then there is an LLM trained on top of it. So inferencing your data without actually sharing the actual data points and weights is something that is possible through Spheron. And we have been closely working with different researchers from multiple universities and college professors to understand how Spheron can be scaled on a mass level. There is also one of the use cases which were recently came to our GitHub is to create a chat inference for a local network which acts as a private AI for you and your family without connecting to actual internet and without losing your privacy around it. This can actually be worked upon a simple small language model which can be run on top of Spheron. And we have been closely working with multiple open source contributors who are on top of Spheron and incentivizing those developers throughout. And there are so many use cases that can be built with Spheron by just one click. As composable, scalable, and decentralized, I think Spheron has the ability to create million more such use cases, and we would love to have you on that. Thank you so much, guys.